Alright, so it is October 10th today, which means we're about a third of the way through November. And that means for me, I'm a third of the way through the every video every day of November. And at this point, I mean, I've always been kind of freestyling, and I haven't had a plan for what I'm doing each day. And in terms of like making a video, I just either talk about whatever or I'm doing something that day, so maybe I'll talk about that. But today is where I'm just really kind of out of ideas. I was just sitting here trying to think of something to talk about, and I mean, I don't know. I sometimes think like there's just nothing too interesting that goes on in my life, and that's mostly true. I mean, um, for the most part, and yes, I'm wearing the same shirt as yesterday before you come after me. This is just like casual after work wear, that sort of thing, pajama stuff. Like, I'm wearing my Coca-Cola pants. Um, but yeah, I feel like for the most part, my life has kind of become already too routine, you know. You hear a lot of people talking about how they don't want to get stuck in the matrix, or they don't want to get stuck in like the 9 to 5. And I don't think there's not like an inherent issue with that. But for me, my issue is that I haven't even reached my target, right? um I'm trying to get into medical school right now, and this is already my second time applying. And it's still sort of not looking hopeful right now. I'll say that. And today's sort of topic is going to be a little more sort of heavy, a little more, how do I say, like, sort of just me, um, kind of opening, I don't know the right word, like dumping stuff. It's nothing very exciting or interesting. It's kind of just what I'm going through, and how I'm feeling right now. So, just a little heads up there. But yeah, I mean, over the past 2 months with this whole medical school application, I was feeling hopeful initially, and now it's sort of mellowed out. And I mean, at this point, I'm kind of looking towards applying a third time, right? And it's just difficult. It's difficult to think about. It's a lot of money to do that, and it's just a lot of effort, right? I'm gonna have to go through the process again, write my essays. It's not something that I want to do again. And yeah, I think that I don't know, over the past year, at least since I graduated back in May of 2024, which feels like forever at this point, and it kind of is. It's been a year and a half now since then. I've just been mostly working and finding some other stuff to do here and there that I can put on my resume, but I always feel like I get stuck in the cycle, right? This 9 to 5 cycle that I it provides routine in my life, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm necessarily achieving enough to demonstrate on my application that this is something that I want to do. And I think it just the idea that I always need to do more is something that's gonna continue to stick with me. I think it goes for any person who wants to do anything in medicine, specifically go to medical school though. You're just gonna have that feeling that you're never doing enough, that the person who does go to medical school is always doing more than you, and you'll always be looking for things to do. And right now, I'm working. I get up at 6. I'm doing some of my personal stuff in the morning, working out, whatever. And I'm working from 8. And today I got home at like 5, almost 6. And at that point, I'm eating dinner. I'm doing a few things here and there, but it's nothing significant. And for the most part, I'm tired, so I'm gonna go to sleep. And I, yeah, it just feels a little bit sort of there's no good word to describe it. I think is the best way to put it. Funnily enough, like to not describe it at all is the best way to describe it, right? Like how can I describe the feeling that I'm doing stuff yet I still feel like I'm not doing enough. Maybe like hopeless or underachieving or just there definitely is something. It's just not coming to me, and especially with something that involves like such a large aspect of my life and my future career. I'm A lot of emotions are going through my head right now. I'm worried, I'm stressed, and I'm I'm also just uh, a little bit lost, right? I mean, once you apply twice, you would think that the first time you go through it, you understand where your flaws are. The second time, you correct them. And I thought I had not corrected, but adjusted for a lot of my flaws, right? Like, I think the first time I applied, I had almost no clinical experience, and now, after working as a medical assistant, I've gained a lot of clinical experience, and I worked as a medical assistant when I applied this year. I'd been working for 1,000+ hours, so it wasn't anything that I just started, right? And I demonstrated. I really wanted to emphasize the passion that I had working in a clinic, working in primary care, and I feel like I did that in a lot of my essays. Now, the difficult part is that I'll probably have to do it again or adjust something again for if I don't get in this year, which it's looking highly likely. I'll have to adjust for something next year for my third attempt. And realistically, I mean, to change something uh, from doing this to I don't know, something new, I guess, for this upcoming cycle is such a difficult ask, right? I'm still working in the clinic. I'm still doing some volunteering here and there. I mean, there's not much else that I can do in my time, right? And yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and this is where it gets a little bit ranty, because I feel like some of the the responsibility is of course going to be on me, right? I can't just be a lazy bum. I can't just sit in my room and want to say I want to be a doctor. I want to go to medical school without actually doing anything, right? Which I'm not. I'm not sitting in my room doing nothing, just saying I want to be a doctor. I'm going out there. I'm working. I'm actively looking for experiences. Working with patients and exposing myself to the field of medicine, not just through working as well. Like I said, through volunteering, through any sort of opportunity that I can find around here. So, of course, a part of the responsibility is on me to to do that and to fulfill what it means to be excited, to be motivated about medicine, right? But then again, part of it is also on the overall application process. I mean, you set up these massive barriers, right? You set up the time barriers. It takes several months to apply through the primary, the secondary, and if you do get interviews through those as well. And it takes up more than several months. It takes up almost like half a year, right? And on top of that, it costs maybe like several thousand to apply, right? And that's not even including the MCAT, any MCAT test preparation, which if you don't go through, if you don't do any MCAT test prep, if you don't like buy UWorld or whatever, I don't know. That's pretty crazy to do that. But what I'm saying is the financial barriers to even apply for medical school are insane, right? Not to mention the actual financial barriers of going to medical school. Just applying is insane. Mm, just with the primary application, it's like maybe $1,000, a little more than $1,000, and then each school has their own secondary application, and those are like almost $100 each, right? So if you're applying in 20 schools, 20 something schools, because you always want to cast a wide net, you never know these schools. It's going to be difficult to to get any acceptances, which is what I'm dealing with right now. So you want to apply to as many schools as you possibly can, and yeah, I mean it's going to cost you several thousand just to do the secondaries for those schools. Um, um, so I mentioned financial barriers, I mentioned the time barrier, and then finally, their acceptance is just extremely competitive, right? And extremely selective on top of that. Now you're talking about several thousands of applicants narrowed down into less than 100, uh, less than 100 students, accepted students. I mean, to constantly fight against, not even fight, but compete against people who are doing the utmost of their ability in college or whatever to get into medical school, right? They're researching cancer, they're researching whatever it is, right? And they're doing speeches, they're publishing articles, they're doing all this stuff, and here I am just working as a medical assistant, right? Which is an important role, but in the grand scheme of things, feels as if it's insignificant compared to a lot of the other candidates. It's draining and it's tiring to always think about this. Um, and I just want to shed some light on the whole application process, because despite what you hear from anyone else about their experiences and how they've achieved or failed in their strive towards medical school, so much of the process is reliant on the application itself and the organization that manages the application and the the process that each school undergoes to select candidates, right? Because imagine if more schools admitted maybe like 50, 100 more students, right? Then it would be sort of not less competitive, but it would allow you for more opportunity, right? Instead of always feeling like you have such a slim chance of making it into medical school, now you feel like, oh, you know what? There's a better chance that I can, and even if I don't, I try my best, and unfortunately, it just isn't it. So imagine if more schools did that. At the end of the day, there's not much I can say against the system. I mean, I'm always going to have to try and continue improving myself and my application. But to continually fight and try and fail is it's it's definitely I don't know how to put it. If I were to put it just very succinctly, maybe heartbreaking, if something like that. Uh, you know, you just see so many people around you. For me, especially because I knew a lot of people who were in pre med, and I was part of an organization that had a lot of pre meds and was focused on pre med, like focused on fostering a group of pre med people to just build a community that's sort of non competitive and building each other up rather than competing against one another. So to see a lot of my classmates and my friends who get into medical school, I mean, I always celebrate them, but for me, I always wonder, when is my time, right? When is my sort of opportunity going to arrive? And this is where it gets a little bit more like spiritual. I wouldn't say spiritual, but more like what is the word I'm thinking of? Out of my control. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that this is where I feel like sometimes I just have to rely on fate and you know in some sense of the word, destiny has something to do with what I'm doing right now, what I'm experiencing, and what my future holds, right? I'm not a very religious person. I would say I'm pretty non-religious, if anything, but I also think that there is some sort of occasionally I just feel like there is something in the world that uh, pulls you to do certain things and pushes you to do others, and it's all in some sort of meaningful way, right? Nothing to do spiritually, but rather things that are out of our control, and we just have to play our part, right? So yeah, that's just how it is. That's kind of how I felt with when I got into the accident. Luckily, it wasn't anything severe, of course, but it was a wake up call, right? And I feel like at that point, I needed something to kind of wake me up into what I'm doing and just sort of shock me back into reality. Because, mm, I mean, I'm still kind of going through the cycle, the cycle of where I just wake up, work, come back, sleep. But now I feel more sort of motivated to try and do something, whether that's just finding new opportunities or working on myself. But yeah. Anyway, mm, to kind of wrap up the gloomy stuff, the gloomy, depressing, ranty, uh, sort of sharing side of this. That's where I'm at with my medical school journey, and hopefully I'll be able to get some good news. But if not, then I'm going to continue working on it. And yeah, that's it for today. I don't think there's much else. I think the Packers are playing today. I haven't watched the game, but I've been keeping track of the score, and like last time I checked, it was the third quarter and Eagles were up like 3-0. So, okay, I'm looking at the score right now. It's 10-7 Eagles, and it's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, what is going on? The Packers are just, I don't know how to feel about them. I mean, they should be good on paper, but something is just off. And Tucker Craft being injured, of course, that guy was a powerhouse, but now he's out for the season, so that's like a massive loss. So I don't know if I want to watch that. That might ruin my night. Mm, and yeah, I'll probably just finish sort of my usual things. But other than that, yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully tomorrow will be something different for sure. Whether that's whatever I decide to talk about at that day, or whether I decide to do anything. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything unique tomorrow, but maybe I'll do like some online game or quiz or whatever. So that would be cool. But I'm already going for 21 minutes. This is too much yapping. I'll end it here. Have a good night. Goodbye.